All right, it's the unofficial breakdown. We're going to do something a little bit different tonight. We had the Jays home opener, which was pretty cool. Jays get a win 3-2 in a nice walk-off win by Andreas Jimenez. And you know what? I guess let's go to the top story of this game. The number one thing on everybody's mind was how could they possibly let Jeff Hoffman come out and pitch again after what we saw in Game 7 of the World Series? And honestly, I have no idea. I don't think this team is going to make a step forward mentally or in skill or whatever until they get rid of Jeff Hoffman. You know, it sucks to say that. He's probably a great guy. You know, he's a half decent pitcher, but after what we saw in Game 7 and tonight, I don't know how you could ever put him on the mound again. I really don't. It's just like the amount of anxiety that I had, and I imagine that every single Jays fan had out there watching Jeff Hoffman come onto the mound and then give up a home run in the top of the ninth it's probably one of the worst things I've ever seen. It was probably one of the lowest moments of how can this possibly be happening again. I just don't understand it. But yeah, luckily the Jays pull out a win. It was nice to see. I think the good omens there are with the team, which is nice. So thankfully they got the win. A lot of the lower tier players tonight I thought did well. You know, I watched Jimenez in the World Baseball Classic. He had a rough go. I didn't think he was that good, to be honest with you. But tonight he came up, had a couple of hits, had a really big game for the Jays. And it's the small ball, you know, put the ball in play, just make small plays and that add up over time. That's a really big thing for the Jays. It seems to be something that they're very good at. I think that it's going to work for them this season just as well or maybe better than it worked last season. But yeah, I don't know. It was a tough game. You know, I think it could have gone either way for a little bit there. And on paper, the Jays are much better than the A's, but still, you know, when it comes down to it, you just really have to put bat on the ball and get it out there and hope the right players can make the right plays. And luckily, it worked out tonight. But yeah, I don't know. I think Vladdy had a good game too. I was happy with how he hit. He seemed to be kind of a beacon of light, to be honest with you. You know, I think we all were there watching Vladdy watch the World Series celebrations from the dugout there. And I think it changed him. I think mentally it changed him watching that. And hopefully this year he's going to come out with something to prove. And I think he already has started that challenge for sure by having a good outing tonight. But a lot of these guys, you know, even in the media conferences and the stuff that I watch from them, they really didn't seem too fazed by it. They understood that they lost Game 7 of the World Series and then it was incredibly close, but they came out with an attitude that they weren't hung up on it. And that was nice to see. You know, I was worried about how that would mentally affect the team, and it seems like they have accepted it and moved past all those stages, you know, bargaining, grief, or however it goes. And they moved right into acceptance and that they've come out and seemingly I've been ready to play a really solid season of ball. So if you're a fan of the team, it's a positive because it looks like they mean business and they're coming out here to really make a difference. With that being said, some of the new players on the team, like Okamoto, I think if I'm pronouncing that right, our Japanese player that we got in the off season, pretty good. You know, I was happy with how he looked tonight. Had a couple of hits. He looked like he felt comfortable. He wasn't out of his league or nothing like that. So it looks like he's going to have a pretty positive season. We'll see how it goes going forward, but I think he fit into the lineup pretty well. I was kind of worried about how the lineup would look without Bo Bichette, who was 0 for 4 with the Mets the other day. That's nice. But yeah, you know, without Bichette's bat there to kind of fill in some holes, and he was so good at getting, you know, bat on the ball and you know, getting singles, getting doubles to kind of run get some RBIs. You know, without him, I thought it might be a little bit of a challenge, but it seems like Okamoto's fits right in, no problem at all, has no problem, and just seems to be a really good bat in the order. I forget even where he's batting specifically tonight, but yeah, he just seems like he fits in really well, And going forward, he's going to be a huge difference maker on this team. I think he will be. I think he's going to be a massive difference on this team, potentially even more than Bichette, because Bichette seemed to be injured not that often, but often enough that he wasn't there in critical moments, especially in the playoffs. So if this guy can stay healthy and, put bat on the ball and get a couple runs in every now and then, I think it's going to be possibly better than Bichette, actually. So that's a positive. But yeah, Jay's going to win, 162 games this season. Yeah, 161 left. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But getting a win in the first game is mentally relieving for a lot of Jays fans. I think if you lost this one, there was such hype and such build up to the first game of the season that you started off on a good note like this. It just eases your emotions a little bit. It makes it feel easier to come back into the season with some positivity. So that's nice. But if you're tuning in, I appreciate it. If you're not, you should be. I'll try to do as many of these as I can, but obviously there's a lot of games this season, and I'm not going to be around that much to do it. But if there's any big news and anything else going on in the league, I will definitely sit down and give you my thoughts about it. So I'll do my best. So yeah, game 2 coming up tomorrow. Hopefully they get a win, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.